Hello, Erica. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's nice to see you again. What's been going on?
Just work, 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 work.
Well, work is important, right?
Mm,
So, real quick before we get started on our session today, I just want to go over a few things about so you understand what these sessions are about and how I run my sessions. I want you to understand that everything you say here stays here in this office. Um, I have complete confidentiality unless I feel like there's some type of child endangerment or I feel like you may want to harm yourself or somebody else. Okay, then it's my ethical and moral duty to report that to somebody that may be able to help you and that may have um, the ability to help you beyond what I can do for you. Does that make sense?
yep,
Yeah?
yep.
Okay. So, um, what brings you in today? Well, before we get started, I wanted to just check if it was all right that I jotted down some notes as you were talking, just to help me remember what we're talking about. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So, what brings you in today? What's going on? What have you been thinking about?
I don't know. I guess I'm a little depressed.
Okay. And anything else happening?
Tired. I'm tired.
Tired, depressed, and tired. Okay. Well, let's. Why? Why do you think you've been so tired lately?
I don't know. I guess I feel like my job is not really fulfilling for me.
And um,
So it takes a lot out of me to go there and do my work.
takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
So, is there? Well, let's talk about your work then. Let's talk about what is going on at work and try to figure out why it's affecting you the way it is. Um, Maybe could you explain kind of a normal day's routine and then we can go from there?
I don't really have a normal day's routine. I mean, I get up. Let's see, 5:45, and I leave the house by 6:45, and I drive an hour to work, and then I've got all kinds of responsibilities, but mostly it's just sitting at my desk and doing stuff, and then I've got like an hour and a half to drive home.
So long commute.
Yep.
And it sounds like you spend about maybe 2.5, 3 hours on the road every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that driving is probably a little bit stressful, right? Dealing with commuters, other drivers on the road. Sometimes maybe people aren't as friendly on the commute home or on the commute there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably because everybody's dealing with the same thing that you are, right? They don't want to get up and go to work and are stressed about having to drive to work or they're in a hurry to get to work.
Or sometimes they're not in a hurry.
Or sometimes the opposite, right? Maybe they're not going to work. And maybe that part can be a little frustrating too because they're taking their sweet time and you're in a rush to get to work and start your day. So let me just make sure I understand everything. So you got a long commute, and then you have a full work day, right? You work an
Mm-hmm.
8 hour day,
Mm-hmm.
and you, I believe you stated that you sit at a desk for most of the day.
Mhm.
Does that is there something else that you could think of that you would want to do where you could sit down and do it for 8 hours, or not just sit down, something you could do for 8 hours that uh, would be more enjoyable than work for you?
Well, yeah, I could think of a lot of things that I'd rather do for 8 hours,
Well,
but
like what?
anything having to do with artistic stuff.
Okay, artistic stuff. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, you is artistic. Let me rephrase that. Is artistic stuff? Um, Elaborate a little bit. Tell me more about what this artistic stuff is that you like to do.
I mean, I like to, work on design stuff every now and then. In my work, I have the chance to do that, but usually not. Anything where I'm creating a visual presentation is fun for me. Makes the time go by very fast.
So, I think what I'm hearing is that you have maybe a little bit of your work has to do with artistic stuff, setting up maybe presentations, things like that for your boss. And that part you enjoy. And so, really, I think what my goal for this session is to figure out ways to make your day a little bit better. Because at the beginning you talked about being depressed, right? And those feelings that you have, right? Well, where do you think that feeling of depression comes from?
I think it's partly because I'm tired, or it's partly because I don't think I'm, doing something that is the most that I could do in my life.
So, I think I'm going to kind of grab the first part of what you said, and that you feel like the depression may stem from the fact that you're not getting to do the stuff that you like to do at work, the artistic stuff, the things that are fun for you. Okay. Well, then let's. Are there any ways that we can maybe bring some of the more artistic stuff out throughout your day? Could you possibly think of times throughout the day that you could do something artistic that may break up the day a little bit, or maybe make the day go a little faster?
I mean, not consistently within the boundaries of my job description.
Okay. So, sounds like your work days are very busy, very filled with things to do throughout the day. Right? That may be a little harder to get away, but I imagine that you at your work have some downtime, right? You have breaks. You have a lunch period. You maybe have some downtime in between different projects that you're working on, right? And so you could potentially use that time that you have to do some of that artistic fun stuff that you like to do, right? And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, do you think that could help maybe break up your monotonous day, your longer days, by maybe on your break, instead of staying at your desk, you get up and go and let's see, go do a sketch or a drawing or a design drawing. that may, the reason I am mentioning this is it may make you, it's going to give you more times throughout the day where you're feeling better about yourself, right? And then in those down times where you're having to work and you're having to do the parts of the job that you don't enjoy so much, you have something to look forward to, right?
Mhm.
You have something that you can say, oh, geez, I just got here, it's 8 o'clock. My first break is at 10. I have 2 hours. But at 10 o'clock, and I already know the project I want to start, right? And you got something lined up ready to go for all your breaks and your lunch period. Obviously, you still want to eat, right? But, things to make your day a little more enjoyable. I think that's something. Do you think that's something you could do?
Definitely. Yeah.
And another idea I had is because what I'm hearing, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong in any of these assumptions that I'm making, okay, is that you're unhappy with the job that you're in,
Mhm.
and you're feeling a little depressed about it, and that depression is making you tired, or vice versa. You're tired, and therefore you're depressed. And so, have you considered other options besides where you work now?
I mean, I've been working there for so long. I feel like it'd be a waste to leave at this point. But
So, oh, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Please.
that's okay. I've been thinking about taking some classes at night.
Okay, that's a great idea. And were you thinking about taking art classes?
Mhm.
Okay, good, good, good. So, it's funny that you say that because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe, you know, I don't know your job situation and where you're at, but now that you've told me that you've spent some time there and you feel maybe obligated a little bit to stay around because you've been with them for so long, and maybe they take pretty good care of you as an employer sometimes.
Mhm.
Well, that all ties into that obligation that you feel inside of having to stay at your work, right? Another thing that's kind of keeping you at your job, right? And so it may be something that you look into taking some classes, some art classes. That's going to help you. When you're not at work and you're able to go to these classes, you're going to really be able to enjoy it and dive in because it's something that you really want to do. And so now you have something that can maybe distract you a little bit from what you have to do every day, right? And that's kind of, in my opinion, that's what I try to do in a lot of situations, right? If there's something in not necessarily my job, I love my job, but if there's something that is bothering me or I'm struggling with, uh, instead of getting frustrated and mad or sad and depressed or whatever, I try to take a step back and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to take a break from this for a minute, if it's possible to take a break from it, and I want to go do something that I really enjoy doing. And then I'm going to come back to that and I'm going to be refreshed. I'm going to feel better about myself. And I'm actually going to do a better job of that thing that I really didn't want to do because I'm happy and I've gotten to do what I want to do. So there's this balance in life, right? And sometimes you got to put in the hard work, and sometimes you can um, have that fun that you want to have. Right? And if we're able to balance it out evenly, I think for the most part, life goes a little smoother. So I think and I just want to repeat what we've talked about a little bit, and then kind of maybe set up something. We talked of some ideas, maybe make a little more concrete ideas of how we can, um, one, get you less tired, two, um, get you doing some more of the stuff that you really enjoy doing while still being able to fulfill your commitments at work. And so the first thing that we talked about was you were tired from the commute. And is that something that we can change, or that you can change right now, in the immediate future?
Not really.
Not foreseeable. And so when you have something like that, where you're kind of stuck in a situation that it has to be done, but you don't see anything changing in that regard, like a job that you're in, right? You I think what's important is that you're able to make the time, not find the time, right? Because finding the time in a busy work day and a schedule like I'm sure you have is difficult to do. So you have to actually make the time to do the fun stuff that you want to do. Whether it's taking a lunch break to do it, or taking both your work breaks, or however your day is set up. Whether it's coming home and doing artwork once you get home. Right? It's another option of creating a little more fun in your life. And for the most part, and please, you can tell me how you feel about this, is when I'm happy and I'm doing the things that I enjoy to do, I don't get tired as much. And I'm happy, I'm not feeling down or out. Is it the same for you? Do you feel the same way when you're doing something you enjoy to do? Is it something that
I could spend hours on it and I would love it. Yeah.
Time flies and you're caught in the moment, right? So that's something that you can strive for on a daily basis. It's finding the time to do some more of that fun stuff. And like we talked about, it's hard to find time. There's only a finite amount of time, so you have to make time for it. And that's something that, you may in one form or another have to give up in order to make time for that. Whether it's, you have a show that you like to watch when you get home from work, but, it's not your favorite thing to do, but you do it. It's habit. You come home, you watch a TV show. That may be a situation where you could cut the TV show out and just be doing the artistic stuff that really makes you happy and is fun and helps you in that regard. And the other part is we can't really change the commute that you have. At least not now. We talked about how it's a situation that you are in. It may be temporary, but for right this very moment, we can't change that. And so we have to find ways to maybe change the commute. And could you think of ways that you could possibly, I know you're driving while you're commuting, but is there something you could be doing while you are driving that may make the commute quicker or shorter or more enjoyable?
Well, I listen to books.
Excellent. Okay. So listening to book on tape or books on the radio is a great way for that time to pass. And I imagine, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, that when you are listening to those books, the commute goes a lot quicker. Okay. So that's good. So you are already using some techniques that I would be suggesting to you. Right? And the other thing I think maybe we should discuss is the last thing we talked about, where you had thought about maybe taking some classes, some art classes to do. And I think that's a really good idea. I think that's something that one, you're making time for those classes, right? So you're not having to fill empty time. You have to make time for it. So now you're telling yourself, right, that I'm important, I'm going to take time for myself, and I'm going to do these classes. That's one. That's a self interest, that's something inside of you that you are fulfilling, right? And generally, our thoughts are what cause our feelings, right? As we're raised, most kids are taught, well, I've got a broken heart because my boyfriend broke up with me, right? Well, that's not your heart that's really broken. It's your brain telling you that you are feeling a certain way, right? And so by taking the initiative of starting these classes and making time for these classes, you are inside, you are telling yourself, one, I'm important. Two, it's important that I have fun, and I'm going to make time to have fun, right? So now you're kind of taking control of the situation that you came in and were initially talking to me about feeling depressed and tired. Now you're taking an active role in helping yourself here get better. Not necessarily get better, but feel better. And so I think what we should do now is, because I think the classes is going to be a really good thing for you, is I think we should set up some type of plan to get you going. So do you have an idea of where you might want to take these classes?
Not really, but I could research it online, I guess.
Okay, so maybe that could be the first step as you go and do some research on maybe different schools in the area that offer classes that you're interested in. And while we're talking about it, what kind of classes would you be interested in? I'm just curious.
I don't know, any kind of visual art or creative writing or something like that.
Okay. See, when you told me artistic classes, I was thinking oil paintings and pottery. So that's why I check in with you every once in a while, just to make sure I'm on the same page. So, some kind of visual design, or what was the other one that you said? It was
creative writing.
Creative writing. Okay. Well, I can guarantee you that most of even the community colleges around here, they offer creative writing classes and are fairly inexpensive to go to. Maybe a couple of the universities here do, depending on how serious you are about pursuing your artistic side. And that could be something that we visit again in the future, and maybe another visit when you come back. So let's do this. Why don't we'll wrap up the session now, okay? I think we've talked a lot about initially the depression that you came with, and the feelings of being tired, and the tired is causing, or you feel like the tired is causing the depression. And we talked about some different ways that you could maybe add some more fun throughout the day to help you feel a little happier, a little more energized. And I think the best idea that you came up with was the going to the art classes. And so I'm gonna give you this piece of paper here, this business card actually, and this business card is for one of the counselors at the community college here in town, and maybe maybe that counselor can point you in the right direction of where to go and register, or sign up, and or at least introduce you to the right people to get you there.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. And again, I'm always here to help. So let's do this. I want you to come back in maybe a week or two. We'll schedule something, let's say 10 days from now. Okay. That will give you a little over a week to go out and research what you want to research as far as the art classes. And I really want you to start thinking about kind of like what we talked about, taking control over our own thoughts and the way that they force our feelings. Okay, so think about that, and hopefully while you're thinking about that, you're seeing and realizing that by doing these art classes and by making time to have fun, you're going to not only want to be a happier person, but I think you're going to be less tired. I think you're going to enjoy your life a little more. And so why don't we go do that? That's going to be kind of your homework. It's probably been a long time since you've had homework. And then in 10 days when you come back, let's share what you found out about the art classes and how your days have been going at work as far as breaking up and trying to have some fun throughout the day with your creative writing or wherever it may be.
Okay.
Sound good?
Mhm.
All right. Have a good day, Erica. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.